It is the anniversary for the cult classic film Killer Klowns from Outer Space. And I'm going to be turning myself into Rudy for a monster convention called Monsterpalooza. I'll be doing the makeup at the Skin Illustrator and PPI Premiere Products booth. The problem is, the original look was a 2D illusion. And although it looked great on video and in photos, but at an event, it's going to look really weird if I turn my head when the brow just goes completely flat. Yes, the best route would probably be just to sculpt it and cast it in some foam latex, but I like a challenge, so we're gonna use good old cotton and latex. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, along with one of the lead actors, Grant Kramer, the Kyoto brothers are also going to be there. You know, the creative masterminds behind this iconic film, which means they could see my makeup in the flesh. No pressure. It's been almost 5 years and 6 clown looks, and I have definitely learned a lot over the years. One of the things with the original heads is the ears were flat, but again, at an event, I just don't think this is gonna work. Figured this time, we're gonna want our real ears inside the clown ears. The head is prepped with 4 layers of latex. Foam clay created a half shell. If you've ever had anything pressing on your ears, you know after a certain amount of time, it starts to get pretty painful. And we really wanna make sure we avoid this by making enough space and making sure nothing is resting against the ears. Time to build up the head with cotton and latex. In the first head, I used a styrofoam half sphere, but since I want more texture in this head, I figured it would be better to just build it up with the cotton. Split the sheets of paper towels before soaking them in latex and carefully wrap them around. It's the first layer, so don't stress if it doesn't look that great. You do want to make sure that those edges are nice and smooth, because if not, this is going to be an issue with blending later. Well, my super awesome plan did not work. Overnight, it ended up drooping and setting, so we're going to go ahead and scrap that. Move on to the head while we rethink how we want to do the ears. Added some more cotton to the base of the shape to get a smoother transition. Okay, decided to go with foil over the ears to create the space. I did end up putting some foam clay in the back half to help keep the foil in place and also get that curve of the back of the ear. Shape up the brows with some cotton and carefully coat the latex. You can gently shape the cotton. Also need to make sure that the back of the head looks good, so want to extend that neck. Still lumpy bumpy at this phase, but that's fine. Took a little cotton and latex to create a flat panel, and that's going to be the start of the ear. Use paper tape to attach them and follow with some cotton and latex. Added a furrow in the brow and let that dry. Add some more details into the ears and build them up a little. Now for smoothing. I prefer to use thickened Beta Bond as opposed to thickened latex, but you can absolutely use latex if that's more in your comfort zone and your budget. Let's frost this head like a giant cake and smooth with water. Did a few layers. It's easier to smooth this without those smaller wrinkles that we're about to add. Put thickened Beta Bond in a Ziploc bag and used it like a piping bag. Create some wrinkles and carefully smooth with water. Once dry, you can add even more to those areas. Flesh out the brow a little bit more and put some juicy veins on the sides of the head. Let's add those cheeks with cotton and latex. Mix Beta Bond and white craft paint to get this thing painted. It did end up taking a couple coats. Usually do like to pre-paint a lot more before moving on to the hair. But in a couple days, I have a test makeup, so we're gonna have to just move this along. Skin Illustrator Gray Matter, just to add a little bit of spatter. Hair time. Reused a mohawk that I had from a Bowser look, so that was definitely a time saver. Glued it down and took the next 2 days to get the rest done. Done-ish. Didn't get to lay all the hair I wanted, and it wasn't fully cut and shaped how it should be, but we gotta make it work. Powder the hairline, clean up the edges as best as possible. Gray matter to go over the shadows, since this was gonna be a real pain to do once the head was actually on. Well, it's test makeup day, and we're just gonna have to make all this work. Glued it down with Telesis 9 silicone adhesive. Prefer this over Beta Bond or Pros-Aid because this is gonna guarantee that it's gonna hold throughout the day. Blend the edges with latex, white Skin Illustrator to paint the exposed skin. Go over with an airbrush to smooth it. Add some black to the white and a quick gray spatter. The Rudy Blues, a custom Skin Illustrator blue just for this look. For the eyelids, if you're using Skin Illustrator like I am, or even a water-based makeup, I find pressing a pigment that matches the color you're working with is a great little hack to set the area. If you are newer to using alcohol-activated colors, I do not recommend working this close to the eye until you get more experience and knowledge of the products. Use Skin Illustrator Cajun Red for the lips. Jumped over to this because I found it was a little easier to kind of get an idea of the whole picture before I go back to the eyes. Used gray to sketch out the wrinkles and moved on to airbrushing some shading. This is also the time when my airbrush decided it did not want to play. It just wasn't spraying right, and then it chose violence and sprayed way too much. Well, we're just gonna have to go with it and swap out airbrushes. Go in with some white to brighten the wrinkles and add the markings over the brow. Time to add the wrinkles around the eyes using Blue Bayou as the medium shade. Go in with a black and a super thin brush, and now a little more Blue Bayou and some white to really make those eye wrinkles pop. Little cream eyeliner around the eyes, and also use this to shade the inner corners. Skin Illustrator Coven to highlight the red area. For the show, I actually decided to use Pink Pop for this because it's a brighter pink. And add some really bright white highlights. Then that nose ties it all together. Now, there was more details I wanted to do, but I wanted to film the bazooka and we were losing daylight. There are some tweaks that are gonna need to be done before Monsterpalooza. We're gonna try to get all this done while the convention is full steam ahead. Wanted to build up that side eye socket area. Also gonna need to add about 1 inch around the hairline, and the cheeks could use some widening. The wrinkles are a little too extreme and go way too far on the sides. Life chose to throw a big wrench into the situation. Thanks to a well-timed pipe in my art room closet wall, I ended up having to empty that closet out, and the only place to put all this stuff was in the art room. And unfortunately, I was only left with a little sliver of space to finish all this work on Rudy. Between packing and prepping, this is gonna take all night. We're here and time to work some magic. You know the drill for the makeup. Basically, the same as the test. The stage lights were so bright and made it pretty hard to even look into the crowd. So basically, we're just gonna keep our heads down and knock out this look. Since the Keto brothers are here signing, I did notice a lot of people in some Killer Klown merch stopping by to check out the makeup. After working through the crowd and a quick professional photo shoot, if you know, you know. A quick makeup check and a reflection, and now it's time. Let's see how the Keto brothers like the makeup. This movie left such an impression on 4-year-old me. While this movie is, for some people, the reason for their fear of clowns, this film is why I was fascinated with puppets, animatronics, and makeup. A love for practical effects that influenced my career choice to move out to Los Angeles and do it for a living. So the prospect of this interaction is a little nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Oh my God, look at that!
Come over here. Like crazy around you.
Oh, but I gotta get a picture of that movie.
What did you do with that gun, boy?
That must be you make that yourself? Wow. See all the teeth?
Sculpture, is that yours? Sculpt?
Yeah.
You can come to work for these guys. Okay, 3, 2, 1. That was an audition, you're hired.
You made the gun too?
Yeah.
Oh wow, really? That's really great.
Pretty freaking cool.
Not just
I have to say, of all of this fan made stuff, that's the best I've ever seen.
yeah, but she's a above average fan. Believe me. Really good.
You guys are the reason I'm in effects.
Oh.
Seeing the movie at 4 years old.
Oh.
Like,
Oh, so this is what it does to people.
yeah, that's what it does.
And that makes it worthwhile. That makes it. I love how you integrated the eyes. That's really great.
Thank you.
Perfect interpretation for the real human face. Because we try to distort it so much.
Right, it's tricky.
Yeah.
How many clowns have you done now for your YouTube channel?
5.
Give or take.
The other ones were all illusion. This is the first one I've done with actual like sculpted forms.
Uh-huh.
And then tell them how long it took you to build that.
Oh yeah, it took about a year because life gets in the way and I couldn't work on this full time. So
I get-
it took forever.
I get it. That's a great. That's a great gun.
And it can it's a CO2 cartridge, so I can shoot a little bit of popcorn. It's not dramatic, but it does kind of spin some out.
Beautiful job.
Thank you.
And how long did it take you to get into that outfit?
Makeup is only about 2 hours. Most of the head, I mean, all the work is the head.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. And how many pieces is the head?
It's one piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what makes it.
Yeah, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Well, you look absolutely horrified. Killer Klowns from outer space. Holy shit.